Day one of Sixers training camp is officially in the books. Today we'll give you everything you need to know from day one, including footage of Joel Embiid back on the practice floor. But was he wearing a knee brace? We'll talk about that. Also, Joel Embiid follows up on Andre Drummond's comments about teasing a new style of offense. We also hear from VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey. And lastly, Nick Nurse highlights one surprise player who turned heads at day one of camp. All that and more coming up right here on Philly Take with RB. But welcome into the show. I'm RB. Hit that thumbs up, hit that notification bell. Don't miss the videos or live streams. We are back after streaming media day yesterday. Unfortunately, at the end of it is when Daryl Morey and Nick Nurse came on, so we didn't get to hear from them on the stream. But I went back, I listened to everything, and my overall condensed thoughts are I was happy with the mentality of the young players, but at the same time, I'm still not that satisfied hearing Joel Embiid and Paul George say that they essentially have no timetable, no timeline, and that they're just going to kind of react to how their bodies feel, and that's kind of how this whole season's going to go. I really don't like hearing that, and I hope that they can get back to fully healthy. But nonetheless, starting it off with injury updates today, Paul George had an individual session on the court, I guess like a one-on-one with a trainer, and he was not practicing with the team. Now, Trendon Watford popped up on the injury report already. He has right hamstring tightness, is day-to-day. That's like the theme of yesterday and the theme of this year, I guess, right? Last year was ramp up, now it's day-to-day. But you have these two who are banged up. We know about Joel Embiid. Jared McCain is out, and Quentin Grimes is still not here. So you got to get some of these guys on the floor. Probably not like your normal training camp. Ladies and gentlemen, some very interesting things from today. I'm going to try to be as positive as I can going into this camp. And one way to start that off is by footage of Joel Embiid. Here's Embiid and Maxey working after practice, right when the reporters were let in. So we see Joel taking some deep twos and then some threes. How do we think he looks? Well, we'll get a deeper look on Joel Embiid, but the most important thing from today is that Nick Nurse says Joel Embiid participated in quite a bit of practice and that the Sixers were in live action from the start of practice. So it's not like he was just working out on the side or not really doing much like last year. He was practicing. He was moving around. Now, where is he? 80%, 70, 50, 20, 100, like we don't know. But the fact that he was practicing today is an encouraging sign. But I want you to hear what Joel Embiid said about his mentality, the team's overall approach, and maybe teasing a new style of offense. We'll get to that here on the other side, but real quick, a shout out to our great sponsor of today's video. The Sixers might end up stinking this year, but you don't have to stink, man. It is football season. It is fall time. We're going to be inside more. Basketball is around the corner. Staying fresh can be a challenge. That's where our buddies at Mando comes in. Mando is a whole body deodorant that controls sweat and odor for 72 hours. And after 12 hours, underarm sweat is reduced by 92% with the Mando. They have this new product, the deodorant plus the sweat control, 2-in-1. 100% of their study participants experienced all-day odor protection. So don't be like the Sixers, man. Don't go out there stinking it up. Go cop your Mando. Use the code PhillyTake5 over on shopmando.com. My personal favorite is the Mount Fuji. It smells absolutely amazing, but I also like the bourbon leather, and I like this 2-in-1 because again, it has the sweat control plus the protection of the odor. So check them out, man. It is comfortable. It lasts long, doesn't irritate the skin. Like I said, I'd recommend the Mando starter pack, but check it out over on shopmando.com. New customers can get 20% off site-wide right now and free shipping. Support them. Let them know we sent you. Say goodbye to sweat stains and hello to long-lasting freshness. Bounce back time. Here's Nick Nurse's full answer on whether Joel Embiid was under restrictions today. Quote, he did participate. Everything right from the start of practice was live, and he was in there participating in that stuff. He did not do everything, but he did quite a bit. So that's our declaration for today. He did quite a bit, but not everything. Guess you can build up, right? You can ramp up day to day. Day to day. That's what we do. Here's a video of Joel Embiid getting up some three-pointers at practice. Let's see what his elevation looks like. Looks like he's getting off the ground a little bit. Back in form, a lot better than what we saw last year. I'm kind of glad that they didn't go somewhere for training camp. I'm glad they did it over in the practice facility at Camden because we don't need a vacation to the Bahamas or, any other tropical island. Like, let's just get down to business and do this thing. But yeah, I mean, overall, jump shot looks pretty good. Definitely looks slimmed down, like we said before, but it'll all be about whether he gets on the floor for the regular season and during games. And here is a little bit of a closer look at Joel Embiid. So he has something on his knee, but it almost looks like a knee brace or maybe like a knee sleeve, right? Like there's definitely something under his sweatpants there. By the way, Joel Embiid rocking some Skechers there, his new shoe line. But anyway, Joel Embiid's got something on his knee. Now, it doesn't look to be like some big abrasive, knee brace that's going to hamper him. It just looks like he's wearing something to help, flexibility, mobility wise, whatever it is, just like something standard. So he has something on his knee. It doesn't look too crazy though. Here's another angle. It's funny, like you got all these reporters in there who are just like taking pictures close up of his knee. He's probably like, what the heck are you guys doing? But yeah, I mean, it doesn't look too crazy. And then they did the interviews after with Joel Embiid, and this is where it gets very interesting for me. First, we get a quote about the team's mindset, their approach, and what Joel Embiid is looking forward to this season.
Been hustling other than seeing us win. For most of my career, we haven't had the chance to do that. Without, whether it's me missing or, another, top player on the team missing. So I think, that goes a long way because that kind of put less pressure. Like, for example, last year I kind of felt the pressure, the start that we have.
So Joel Embiid says, last year I felt the pressure with the start that we had as a team. I felt like I had to get back out on the floor. And I kind of rushed myself, even though I wasn't 100% healthy, which is not the right approach. And I'm glad that they're taking that approach now. But again, yesterday, hearing Joel Embiid talk, hearing Daryl Morey talk, saying, yeah, like I walk around Center City and we're trying to get back in the convo with the Phillies and the Eagles and be, a proud team of this city. And then you hear something like this today from Joel. You hear them yesterday not give a clear timetable. And then also there was another clip from today where Joel pretty much said, yeah, like I'm reserved on the inside. I don't have to tell you guys anything. I don't need to share any info, which is true, I guess, but then you leave things up for speculation. But at the end of this, he does say, if you want to talk about winning, it takes all of us. And I agree. They know that they have to be on the floor for this team to have a chance to succeed. Joel Embiid also teased some big changes to the Sixers offense today at practice. Now, he did say this kind of in a joking manner. He said, I'm in the dunker spot. Let me chill in the dunker and everybody else do whatever they want. So maybe that means the Sixers would be a little more up-tempo, guys moving around on the perimeter and getting more open looks, right? Playing more guard heavy. Again, he kind of smiled and he was joking, but I feel like there was also a component here where he was being serious. And if you go back yesterday, Andre Drummond in his presser said, we have a new style of offense that we're experimenting with at practice. So we have said now for like a year and a half, like maybe it is right to put it in the guard's hands. Let Joel sometimes take that secondary or even tertiary role. He doesn't have to have a million touches per game, tire him out. Maybe he can focus more on the defensive end and kind of pivot into this different role as he gets later in his career, especially with the injuries. If you have the talent to do that, maybe that could make sense at some point. So who knows what to take from this, but I do think there is a little bit of truth there. Let me know your thoughts on Joel Embiid down below. How do you feel about him? Do you think he's going to be good to go? And we have a quote from Nick Nurse about VJ Edgecombe. He says VJ was very good at the first practice, and he also highlights Dominic Barlow. Now, we didn't hear a lot, like I said, about the role players today, but Dominic Barlow's name came up a few times. If you remember, he was the two-way guy that the Sixers signed, a little bit of NBA experience, but the Sixers are going to need help with rebounding. I thought it was very curious yesterday when talking about all the guards. Nurse said we might have 4 guard lineups, and Nurse and Morey kind of joked about not having any power forwards. They were like, yeah, the power forward position doesn't really exist, and it's not really that important. I don't agree with that necessarily. I think having a good 4 that can complement your big, that can help defensive rebounding wise, that can help as a big on the interior, just in terms of defending and just take a little pressure off your big, especially with how Joel Embiid plays the game, is very pivotal. And I think the Sixers haven't had it for a while. And I think you can see the impact of that, right? So it was a little odd hearing them joke about that. We're looking at Jabari Walker. We're looking at Dominic Barlow. And if one of these guys can emerge and be that weapon, kind of last year when you look at Yabusele, how he was, then I think it could really help this team out. Now, VJ Edgecombe also talked about Tyrese Maxey shooting, saying, quote, "The muscle memory is crazy. I watched Tyrese shoot the ball a lot. He's shooting it from far, like from the logo, and they all look the same." So Maxey's money. We're putting our stock in Tyrese Maxey. He's shooting from the logo. He might end up being the next Damian Lillard. Speaking of Tyrese Maxey, he was asked about some of his teammates and, of course, taking that leader role now, like he mentioned yesterday. He has a lot of confidence in his guys, and he said all the right things, but he was asked about Adem Bona, saying if he has seen a difference in Adem. He says, yes, 100%. I think the Eurobasket really put confidence on another level. He's playing a lot more free. He's vocal. He's more confident. You can see him smiling a little bit more. So he's coming around to it. He's warming up. And based on the glimpses, especially the defensive potential that we saw from Adem Bona last year, I think he could be a huge piece. Like, he might end up being the backup five, or maybe he should have been last year, and, you know, very inconsistent with the minutes. But Maxey also talks about Trendon Watford, who, again, is now on the injury list. And yesterday, again, Nick Nurse kind of hinted that he had been pushing Daryl Morey to trade for Trendon Watford last year. And Morey admitted, yeah, we tried to get him, but it just didn't work out. But anyway, Maxey on his boy Trendon Watford and developing a two-man game. Quote, he can handle, he can make plays. He's going to be someone who's pushing the ball up the floor and DHO here, and we can play off that. Maxey said the difference between a guy like KJ Martin and Trendon is that Trendon Watford's actually going to have the ball in his hand, so Maxey can be a screener as well. He can be a ghost screener. He can do different things, whereas KJ Martin was really just a lob threat, and he didn't have any ball handling duties or abilities as well. So it seems like there's a lot of stock on Trendon Watford. Apparently, Nick Nurse and Daryl Morey don't even really value the position. I do, and I think they've needed one for a long time. And I thought Yabusele did pretty well last year, so hopefully Trendon can be that guy. But that's where we're at with Sixers training camp today. Give me your thoughts down below. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I will catch you on the next one. Peace.